So today we're going to be talking about a player that I think the Miami Heat should trade for. Subscribe if you enjoy daily sports videos. Let's get into it, y'all. Um, PJ Tucker. That's about it. Um, so on the Houston Rockets, there are two players that are considered targets of the Miami Heat. Those are Victor Oladipo and PJ Tucker. I wish Christian Wood could be one of those guys because he'd be freaking amazing on this Heat team. But unfortunately, for now, I'm pretty sure it's just Victor Oladipo and PJ Tucker are the only two, starters that would have a sizable impact that are available for trade. Now, while Victor Oladipo would be an amazing place on this Heat team, I'm fairly sure the cost would be too high for him. Um, Also, in terms of fit, I question that because he'd likely slot into the shooting guard spot unless they wanted to try run him out at playmaking at the point guard position and see how good of a playmaker he could potentially be. So I question that fit already due to Duncan Robinson being off the court, and he is critically important to this team. So we're going to talk about the actual player I think they should trade for in PJ Tucker. So the Miami Heat finals run last year, while some may say it was improbable, they made some very good moves leading up to that finals run. The Andre Iguodala trade is probably the biggest one. And while most people saw the big part of that trade being, Andre Iguodala himself, I was actually happier to get Jay Crowder. Okay. The reason for that is he's just, a good defender. He can shoot well. He's an extremely streaky shooter. I will give him that. But he can shoot well most of the time. He's a good defender. He's a perfect fit against Bam Adebayo in terms of postseason play, allowing Bam to slot into his, quote, natural position at the 5, and then you put freaking Jay Crowder at the 4. It was a critical trade. It likely helped them beat the Bucks because Jay Crowder was put on Giannis. His shooting for sure helped them beat the Bucks. I mean, it was just a very critical trade, in my opinion, very good trade by the Heat. And this season, they've not really had that, fill-in spot. Myers Leonard has had his chance there. He is currently on the bench, not getting any minutes. Kelly Olynyk has had his chance there, but in my opinion, he does not bring enough defensively to the team. You can't afford to have 3 defensive non-factors on the court at any one time. That's just, common sense in my opinion. So PJ Tucker, he is a very good defender, all right, which is always a good thing. He's a veteran player. I want to say he's like, what, 34, 35 years old? So I'd say he fits the timeline of this team, more or less, right? Quite honestly, this is a contending team, at least it should be. And while it is tempting to wait for guys such as Tyler Hero to develop more, you also do have to, make the move now. So that brings me to an important part of this trade, what they would have to give up. So, oh yeah, I forgot to add this too. PJ Tucker is extremely good shooter, right? He is one of the best corner 3-pointer shots in the NBA right now, right? He can shoot the 3 and he can defend. And that's really what the Heat need, right now. They need someone to slot into that power forward position that can defend and shoot. Because Kelly Olynyk can't defend. Myers Leonard can't defend. Mo Harkless, we don't even talk about him. So that's what they really need. Now, in terms of what the Heat would have to give up, this is where I think it gets, manageable, right? For a guy like Bradley Beal or say, Miles Turner, you'd likely have to give up Tyler Hero, okay? But PJ Tucker is unhappy in, Houston. He wants out. And I think that bodes well for the Miami Heat. Because the best case scenario, in my opinion at least, is they're able to give up, say, just Kendrick Nunn in a second round pick. Or, Kendrick Nunn, Kelly Olynyk in a second round pick. Kendrick Nunn, Mo Harkless in a second round pick, right? I think this is a win-win trade for both teams. Let's just say Kendrick Nunn, a second round pick, and salary cap filler, right? That's a win-win trade for both teams, right? PJ Tucker doesn't want to be in Washington. He shouldn't be on a rebuilding team. Especially if they move on from Victor Oladipo, then he needs to get out of there. Okay? So that's that. Let's say that included Kelly Olynyk, right? His contract expires at the end of this season. So that's an expiring free agent contract. And then Kendrick Nunn would give them a, backup point guard behind John Wall. And he could learn from, a very good, when healthy, point guard. I feel like the Heat would be somewhat willing to give up Kendrick Nunn due to, several factors. For starters, he's not getting any playing time, when this Heat team has, everyone healthy. Um, Gabe Vincent shined out in his one, game that he has so far. Max Struss, don't know if y'all have heard of him. He is an elite three-point shooter. He plays the point guard position. Um, the Heat is famous for its player development team, right? And I'm fairly certain that they could, if need be, they could fill in Kendrick Nunn's place with Gabe Vincent or Max Struss, right? Um, so that's that. Let's see. Anything else? Win-win trade for both teams. PJ Tucker gets on a contender. Um, Kendrick Nunn gets on a team where he can get minutes when healthy. I just fail to see any Vaughn. This is one of those rare trades, in my opinion, that could be a win-win for everyone involved, right? Um, Fairly sure PGA Tucker is a free agent this offseason, and quite honestly, he's going to leave Houston, okay? Unless they give him a ton of money, which I don't see them doing, and they shouldn't do either. He's going to leave Houston, right? So, yeah, that's about it for that. Win-win trade for both teams, in my opinion. Something that, if done, would better both teams. And yeah, that's about it. So subscribe to the channel. I post daily sports content and like the video. Tell me down in the comments below if you like this trade, dislike this trade, all that good stuff. Yeah, y'all have an amazing day.